Jessie here from Urban Legends Antiques, and it is the week of Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. I'm doing a very special project this week. I'm doing a hutch for Chuck's aunt. This hutch is a family heirloom and it comes in 2 pieces, so I'm just going to clean it and do a quick inspection before I start painting. I see water damage to the base of the hutch. It looks like MDF that has swollen, so I need to be careful with that area, especially when I'm cleaning. Sylvia is Chuck's favorite aunt and she's the sweetest woman. I want this piece to come out perfect for her. I'm drying it off before I start to sand it. I'm going to sand it with 220 grit sandpaper and I'm doing a light scuff sanding to the piece just so the paint will adhere better. While sanding it, I notice a dark ring around the edge of the base of the piece, and it's probably from cleaner and oil over the years, so I'm going to lightly sand that to remove it. I'm using a very light hand to sand with. I'm not pressing hard. I'm just trying to encourage the oil to release from the piece of furniture, and it's coming up really, really nicely. And I'm not scratching because I'm using the 220 grit sandpaper again and a very, very light touch. I don't think you can see it on camera, but as I'm sanding it down, there's these little balls, like these little black balls that are coming off of the piece of furniture. So I'm just wiping them off with my hand. And now I'm just going to finish scuff sanding the rest of the piece. Before you use your brush to paint with, you should spray it with a little bit of water. It helps it to accept the paint better. I'm using Melange paint in 3 Trees Beige. I'm a huge fan of Melange and her colors. She makes beautiful colors. This is a mineral paint and I'm shaking it up, which I will learn later on was a mistake. And here we go, I'm starting to paint. Sometimes when I first start to paint, I get a little bit nervous and I question the color choice I did, but I've been to Sylvia's house recently. She's working on redoing her home and she has a lot of white pieces of furniture and then 1 beige piece. So I thought that this one would help tie all of her furniture together. I'm using a zebra square brush for the long flat surfaces on this piece of furniture. The square brush works really, really well and it gives a smooth line. Now I'm spraying the zebra triangle brush with water to get it ready to paint with. And the zebra triangle brush is meant for corners and edges, and this piece is kind of modular looking. It's a mid-mod piece, obviously, but it works well to get into all of the little lips and edges and corners that this piece of furniture has. I don't carry the zebra brushes on my website. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I'm just a big fan. My daughter gifted me the 5-pack of brushes for Christmas last year, and I love them. I've been using them for a whole year now, the same pack, and they are great. They're wonderful to paint furniture with. The triangle brush has this little point to one corner and you can get into all of those little edges. This piece right here, the front of it does not come off, so I was trying to get as much paint as possible into all of those little edges, and the triangle brush worked really, really well for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Give my video a thumbs up and hit the notification bell so you know when I have new videos coming out. We just hit 700 subscribers and I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am that 700 people want to watch my videos. For everyone who's subscribed to me, thank you so much. And for all of my future subscribers, I really appreciate your support. I had noticed that the paint was a little bit streaky and I wasn't quite sure why. I'm used to using Chalky Chicks paint, which is a chalk-based paint, and Melange is a mineral-based paint. I had shaken it up instead of stirring it, and I was wondering why it was so streaky. Later on in the video, you'll see why it was streaky. I learned a big lesson on this video. It's 40 degrees in my garage right now, and usually when I paint, it's around 90 degrees in my garage. It's really hot in there. So I like to get a lot of paint on really quickly, and then I'll go back and forth with long strokes. And I'm doing the same thing here, and it's still working really well, but I had noticed there was some streakiness to the paint. I'm dragging my brush along the side of the piece to pick up any little bits of paint that have dripped from painting the top. While the base dries, I'm going to clean the top of the hutch and remove the door so that way I can paint the inside of it. Now that I've removed the door, I'm going to clean out the inside of the hutch and brush off the top, get rid of any dust and little bits of stuff that has fallen inside of it over the years, and give it a good cleaning. I'm going to spray it down with water to just rinse off the soap that I used to clean it with, and then wipe it all down. Now that I've given it a good cleaning, I'm going to scuff sand it and do the same treatment that I did to the bottom of it. While I'm scuff sanding, I'm doing one last inspection to see if there's any issues that I need to take care of. The only problem that I can see with the top is that these panes of glass I cannot remove. So I'm going to paint the inside of the hutch first and then go to the outside. Painting the hutch with these panes of glass remaining inside is going to be problematic. It's going to be a bit of a reach for me, but I've learned over the years that it's always best to paint the inside of the hutch first and then go to the outside of the hutch, because that way if I accidentally touch the outside, I won't have fingerprints left in wet paint. Now that I have the inside of the hutch painted, I'm working on the outside, and I'm starting to get concerned because I still see a lot of the streakiness in the paint, and normally with a beige paint you should be able to get one coat done and then just have to do touch-ups. And with this one, it's looking like I'm going to have to completely cover the entire hutch with a second coat of paint. The top of the hutch has a lot of tiny little details, so I've chosen my zebra round brush because it works really, really well to get into all of those little details. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I love carved pieces of furniture, and I love to get the paint in with a zebra round brush. It works really, really well. You take the brush and you fill it with paint, and then you push into the piece and then kind of jiggle your brush around back and forth, and it works really, really well. Here's a close-up of the technique that I do. I push my round brush into all of those lovely little edges, and I'll kind of jiggle it back and forth in a circular motion. The zebra brush doesn't bend or break or crack. You don't lose any bristles onto the paint that you would have to then pull off afterwards. As long as you're doing this circular motion, your bristles won't bend or break or crack. You won't lose any of them on the piece of furniture that you'll then have to go back and clean later. Now that I've got the outside of the hutch done, I'm going to finish up that inner shelf, the outer edge of that shelf that I hadn't worked on before. I just didn't want to get paint on myself, so that's why I waited until the very end to do it. But I noticed that the bottom of my jar of paint, the paint was really, really thick. And this is where I realized my mistake. The Melange is a mineral paint, and it's thicker and heavier, and I shook it up instead of mixing it when I first started to paint with it. I've had this paint for 8 months. This is 100% my fault, but I can fix it. I've mixed Chalky Chicks and Melange before when I'm trying to get a custom color, and I know that they mix well together. I've added Salt Flats by Chalky Chicks to my Melange paint, and I'm stirring it now instead of shaking it. I'm going to spray my brush again and then do my second coat in my new custom color. Salt Flats is a creamier, buttery color, and the Three Trees Beige by Melange leans more towards brown, so I knew it was going to lighten up, but I did not expect it to lighten up as much as it did. Here you can see the difference between the two colors, and I'm not going to lie, I was freaking out. I really wanted this piece to be perfect for my Aunt Sylvia. I love her so much. She's the matriarch of Chuck's family. She does everything for everyone in that family. She just loves and gives on everyone, and I wanted to give her a perfect piece, but this is taking me in a completely different direction. I usually like to do a smooth, clean finish, and this is going to have texture to it, and it's not like my normal style, but I'm just going to roll with it because it's already happened. To be honest, this mistake threw me for a loop and caused me to question my skills as a furniture artist. I wanted this piece to be perfect for Aunt Sylvia, and it's going to have a lot of texture instead of the smooth finish that I like. But I'm a student of Jamie Ray Vintage, and she does a lot of texture. So I decided I'm just going to roll with it, and I'm going to white wax it instead and see what happens. As much as I didn't want to get paint on myself, you can see it's all over me, but it is what it is, and I'm really hoping that Sylvia likes this piece. Some of the areas that have a lot of texture, I did a light sanding on just to prepare it for white wax. And I'm going in straight with white wax. I've seen Jamie Ray Vintage do this numerous times, and I know that it works. I've just never done it before. So this is me going out of my comfort zone big time, and I'm white waxing and just trusting that it's gonna look good in the end. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know that I was calling this piece my beautiful disaster, and here's why. To me, this felt like a disaster, but I just went with the white wax and I trusted that it was gonna be okay because I've seen Jamie Ray Vintage do it before, and it actually came out beautiful. It has this kind of like old European look to it because you can see the browns and the beiges and the whites creeping through the white. So instead of having like a uniform color, it had this tone on tone color, and it was so beautiful. This is day 2 of me working on this piece for my Aunt Sylvia. I'm drinking a little bit of coffee, and I am telling myself it's gonna be okay. I'm telling you guys it's gonna be okay. I'm scared though. Now that I've gone out of my comfort zone and I've used texture and I've just accepted that this piece is going to have a lot of texture, for me, a lot of texture on it, I should say, I'm going with something that I'm comfortable with, which is the Chalky Chicks white wax. I've used their white wax in the past. I know that their products stand the test of time and that they hold up really well, and I feel comfortable using them. I'm using a paint pixie brush to white wax this piece, and it's not getting into the edges as much as I would like, so I am going to use my finger instead. I figured the white wax is low VOC, it's easy to use. I've used the Chalky Chicks paint in my kitchen before, and I feel comfortable using it, so I have no problem. I'm not concerned at all about using my finger to put the white wax on this piece. I don't know if I jinxed myself or not, but I'm telling you, my phone kept falling off of my ring light while I was working on this piece. Here's a good shot of it. I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna keep working. This is a close-up of the inside of the hutch where I was waxing it, and you can see the texture and the layers of the paint inside of it. Now that I've waxed the inside, I'm working on the outside of this piece, and I'm almost done with it. It's all done, and I took a quick shot of it, and I gotta admit, I'm feeling this moody vibe. We told Aunt Sylvia that it was done, and we offered to deliver it after Christmas, but she wanted it before Christmas so she could decorate it. While we were moving it inside, we stopped to show Sylvia Chuck's handiwork. The MDF was swollen so badly we had to glue it and clamp it down and then add trim to the base of the buffet.
There was a lot of water damage down here, so we had to put these moldings up.
Okay.
And this piece of wood to hold it all together.
Okay, well, it's okay. So you have it, I mean, it's
So,
but it was a lot of
yeah,
water.
because it was going to start coming.
Yeah, because this is like MDF, so it just swells. The glass shelves inside were broken, so we got some new glass cut for it, and Sylvia doesn't know that the light works, so Chuck's plugging it in to give her an extra surprise. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Urban Legends Antiques, and we have a website with items available for shipping at urbanlegendsantiques.com.
Did it have one, or did you put a light in there?
No, it had a light. It works.
And here she is, the beautiful disaster, all done and lit up, ready for Sylvia to decorate. I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I really hope Sylvia likes it.
Check out my nervous smile. I was still worried at this point Sylvia wouldn't like it. It looks like Goldie the goldfish approves.
Hey, John.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I told Sylvia that the piece needs to cure for 30 days and to not clean it with anything other than Windex, but she still put a little bit of decorations in it, and it's so pretty. I'm so happy she likes it. I'm Jessie from Urban Legends Antiques, and thanks for coming along for the ride. Chuck liked my custom colors so much that he took it to Home Depot for a color match, and according to Home Depot, it is Rococo Beige. So much for my custom color. But if you want this color, you can get it Rococo Beige in matte from Home Depot. Let me see. And it's bare is the paint. All right, bye you guys. Happy holidays.